Hello, everyone. I know I'm early. I Since we're not doing church services on Wednesday night, I can do this a little earlier. Works out pretty good for me. I have found out a way to upload all my Facebook lives onto YouTube. So I've been doing that since I got home this evening. I'm like, woot woot. Thank you, Norma Barker, for having me look at that again. And I found another video that worked well. Hi, Barbara. Bobby, I'm so happy for you. My heart soars every time I see the change in your name. That's fantastic. Hi, Lacey. Laura, hello. Hello, Miss Cora. Miss Bev, it's good to see you. We're going to, we finally got off of Esther. Aren't y'all glad? I finally got out of there. Hi, Samantha. Chelsea. Miss Destiny. I know you are getting tired of hearing about Esther, and I could have spent another week in there, but I decided not to because I thought, well, they're probably getting bored. And I have been seeing, I always ask God, I'm like, Lord, who's next? Because basically I want to teach you, hi, Sherry. I want to teach you all about the women of the Bible. Excuse me, dinner's just not hanging very well. Blah. Sherry, I miss you. You need to come and do communion with me someday. Next time you're in the hills, holler. I miss you. Hey, Jennifer. Barbara, Bobby, it's all good. I'll pray for you, babe, but it's all good. So I've been noticing on Facebook where people have been putting the red over the door. Like it was done Passover. And the red got my mind to thinking, Lord, what lady's next? And a couple of things came to mind. And last night we were doing Kayla was doing a Facebook Live with her paparazzi, and she mentioned Rahab because there was a red necklace. And I was like, Rahab it is. We're going to talk about Rahab tomorrow night because I've been asking God, where do I go, Lord? Where do you want to go? So Rahab is it. She's one of my favorite stories. I even presented her as a time traveler once. And she intrigues me so much. Lacey, I love you, girl. I'll get in contact with you Saturday. I'll do that for you Saturday. Got the box waiting, but Saturday's my earliest day, so we'll get her done then. So let's get on with our story. Jericho. It's a place that means moon. And apparently it's the oldest city in the world, and the first city Israel conquered under Joshua. Now, their first test of strength after the 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, I think it was a success. See, Jericho was situated in the lower Jordan Valley, which according to Genesis 13:10 was well watered everywhere like the garden of the Lord. Now, the Old Testament town lies beneath Tel Es-Sultan, near one of Palestine's strongest springs. And Jericho was an oasis situated on a hot plain, living on its own world with no major settlement in sight, and lying between the two focal points of Jerusalem and Ammon in the mountains to the west and east. Now, it's mentioned in the Bible, usually in association with some movement from one side of the Jordan to another. The Israelite invasion, when Ehud takes tribute to the Moabite king, and when David sends envoy to the king of Ammon, and when Elijah and Elisha cross the Jordan, or when Zedekiah attempts to escape the Babylonians. But here the Lord ordains the new leader Joshua and gives him the same promise that he gave Moses, sending him out to become and to begin the possession of Canaan. Now, while sending out spies to observe the city and see what was going on, a harlot by the name of Rahab realizes that God is with the Jews, and she hides them in. Rahab, a personal name meaning. It means broad, which is slang for loose woman. It is also used to depict Egypt and Babylonian as idol worshippers, and ungodly people that they were. Her only request. Her only request was, when God gives you the city, please save my family and I. So she took that scarlet robe and she hung it out her window as a sign not to destroy anyone in that house. Now her actions saved her and her family. And she wasn't the right. This is where I love this story. This is where it gets to me every time. This is where I start getting in that place of wanting to shout. That place of, she wasn't the right race. She wasn't the right nationality. She certainly was in the wrong profession. Her life was a shame, an absolute shame, and her sins were many. I can raise my hand and say that. But she was accepted into the Lord's earthly family. She married into the tribe of Judah, which means praise, from which eventually the Messiah would come. She's even mentioned in the great book of the faithful of the Hebrews, 11:31. By faith, by faith, by faith, the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, and when she received the spies in peace. In the book of James, in his writing to the church, he likened her actions to faith without works is dead, because she took action. She took action to preserve the spies and save her family. James 2:25 likewise says, also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works when she had received the messengers and sent them out another way? And in 26 it says, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. Think about that. So we're going to look at some things tonight about Rahab. Joshua 2:21. And she said, according unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. So those of you that are applying it now over your doorposts and to your windows, you're doing it by faith. Listen to this story. There's so much to be learned by her story. You see, she believed. Number one, she believed. Verse 9, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. She believed. That was the first thing she did. Second thing she did is she heard. She heard. Verse 10, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you, and when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. She listened to what was going on. The other thing she did, think about this, she confessed. Verse 11, and as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. She confessed who God was. What'd she do next? She prayed. Verse 12. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness to my father's house and give me a true token. Now therefore I pray you. The next thing she did is she received. Verse 14. And the men answered her, our life for yours. If ye utter not this our business, and it shall be when the Lord hath given us the land that we shall deal kindly and truly with thee. She received that. The other thing she did, she worked. Verse 15. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was open upon the town wall. Or her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. She worked. She let them down by a cord, by a rope. She didn't just say, all right, guys, go do your thing. She worked. The other thing is she obeyed. The men said, behold, when we come into the land, thou shalt bind this line of scarlet thread unto the window, which thou didst lead us down by, and thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. She obeyed what they needed her to do. Verse 21, and she said, according unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. Okay? The other thing she did, she triumphed. Joshua 6:25, and Joshua saved Rahab, the harlot, alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even until this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out in Jericho. All this boils down to one thing. She had faith, and she put her faith to work. She put her faith to work by believing, by hearing, by confessing, by praying, by receiving, by working, by obeying. She triumphed. Hebrews 11:31 says, by the faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believed not, and when she received the spies with peace. You see, God's grace was great to this harlot Rahab, not because of anything she was or wasn't. She was a lot of things. She wasn't a lot of things too. But it was simply because of her faith and her acting upon her faith. I am so glad that God is merciful to those who don't deserve it. Right here. Thank you, Lord. God allowed His great grace to shine, and will allow it to shine in anyone's heart who is hungry, who is open, and who is willing. Rahab's a great lesson for us ladies. Where's your faith today? When all this is running amok, where's your faith? Do you have the red cord in your window?